Main menus. They seem pretty simple, right? Few buttons, some cute sliders, a little animation here or there. Surely this is the easiest part of the game development process, right? Wrong. Here's how developing the main menu for my game Castlemancer gave me deep psychosis. Now, for some brief context, my game Castlemancer is a roguelike deck builder, where the cards you play actually interact with the game world. So if you play a spell card, the spell will actually happen wherever you place the card. Kind of like Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Card Wars from Adventure Time. Since Castlemancer is a roguelike, it's important that every run feels unique, and players feel a sense of progression. One of the ways many games achieve this is by adding unlockable items or new characters. In Castlemancer, you can choose wizards that are associated with 3 different factions. The names are still a work in progress, but tentatively they are the Cerulean Council. They're kind of the most classic archetype of wizards. They have a good balance of all schools of magic and kind of that general protagonist vibe. Then there's the Arcanium. Lore-wise, they're kind of more edgy, with a focus more on fire spells and damage multipliers. And then there's the Cult of Chaos, which, as the name implies, is sort of the evil faction, which employs a lot of fear magic, necromancy, and summoning. Okay, so back to the main menu, and the origin of my insanity. Well, initially I added a pretty simple tab menu for character selection, which I thought looked good for a first iteration, but if I'm being honest, it felt a little amateurish. And as you play games as a game developer, it starts to become inevitable that you compare your project to the game you're playing, which is usually an unfair comparison because as a solo indie dev, it's unlikely I'll be able to create a game as polished as, say, Dark Souls in any meaningful amount of time. It's like going for a jog during the Olympic sprinting practice. Hey, you're out there exercising, which is great, but then you see these fiends busting a 6-second 50-meter time and you feel inadequate. Main menus also have the added effect of basically being the actual first impression of your game to the player. This is like that initial greeting, an initial handshake, if you will. Now, some great main menus that I found are Hearthstone, as it really matches the whole board theme super well. Stardew Valley, because it pretty much nails the vibe immediately of what the game was going for. Nine Kings for its satisfaction. Halo, mostly just for that like iconic music. And Detroit Become Human because of its interactivity. And many, many more. Now, with some inspiration, I decided to spruce up the menu to make it a little more interactive. One way of doing this is a carousel. Now, we've all seen this. A carousel is simply a sliding window of images, and a circular carousel can be where if you only go one direction, you'll eventually hit your current position again, kind of like a big circle. Now again, seems simple, right? This is a largely solved problem. Well, not for your boy. I'll briefly show what my notebook looked like as I was trying to figure this out. And the reason I started developing psychosis from this is there are basically 2 parts. There are the 5 characters currently shown to the player. Then there are the rest of the characters in the background that have to maintain an order, so that if you keep going one direction, you'll get back to your current position. Another tricky part is you have to keep track of not only your current position, but what should be shown next. For example, if I move right, a new character would be shown on the left, but that character has to be maintained as I iterate through. Same way with the left direction. So after resolving this carousel issue, I wanted to add some special effects. Notably the hero's name that kind of flies in, and the character's outline to really emphasize which character you actually have selected. I also plan to add text about what bonus that character has, and items you can equip for each run, but I'm still unsure on what the best information architecture for this screen is. Now, I'm pretty adamant about trying to fit everything into this screen, as I don't want to add unnecessary friction when starting a run. Since Castlemancer is a roguelike, being able to quickly spin up a new run without too much decision paralysis and flicking through a bunch of menus is key. One thing you'll notice also is that there's no distinguisher yet between which character belongs to which faction, which I had in the previous menu. Now, I was trying to think of a thematic way to do this, whether it's the flags changing color or the background particle effects matching the faction colors, or it's just a simple text highlight or a banner, or if there's some sort of other UI interactions. Let me know if you guys have any suggestions. And I'll be honest, I spent way too much time on this character select screen. I mean, you can compare it to the actual main select, and you can see how much effort went in over there. And I think ultimately, I focused on this so hard because, to me, it helps simplify things later down in kind of the project management of the game. Throughout game development, there's always so much to do, so many features to add and systems to build. But I always find it more chaotic if I'm hopping between one feature to another, instead of just finishing the feature I'm working on and then moving on. Like, okay, I got the menu completed, and now I can focus on the intro sequence and then focus on the combat, and then focus on the overworld map, etc. So that sounds like the right path, but the danger with this though is that games change a lot during development. So if you quote unquote finish a feature, it's likely that you're gonna have to go back and change something anyway. Castlemancer literally used to be a text-based strategy game, and now it's a roguelike deck builder. So some of those old systems still exist. But overall, I'm happy with the menu in its current state, and I really hope I don't have to change more of it in the future. But let me know what you guys think, and if you have any suggestions for improvements or fun things that you might want to see. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm actually in the process of moving, so I'm in kind of like a temporary apartment setup. So thank you guys for bearing with me. I don't have all my gear. I don't really have my like professional recording microphone or anything. So that will be changing soon, but I have pre-recorded some stuff, so I will be still releasing and making videos. Please comment down below if you have any suggestions on how to improve the main menu feel or make it look less amateurish. Also, if you have any suggestions for videos that you might want to see, so whether that's devlogs about Castlemancer or like game development challenges, whatever it is, just comment it down below. Also, please wishlist Castlemancer over on Steam. It really helps me out. It's a roguelike deck builder, so if that sounds interesting. Also, if you just have any general feedback about Castlemancer, about different features that you might like, especially as I try to wrap up the demo here soon. So I'm always open ears for any feedback or suggestions that you guys have. That's all for me. We do a bad British accent at the end of every video. Hopefully I see you in another one, and bye-bye.